As my trig teacher used to say, and we're live. Cool.
One time we need to have a meeting on a Saturday night just so we can say, we're live, Saturday night.
All y'all can do that. I'll be mine. Okay, so let's see. Let's start with an opening prayer. I'll go ahead and offer it. I think it's my turn. Dear Heavenly Father, we're grateful for the opportunity we have to meet together as a group for this class and talk about the Brentwood Associates case. We pray that as we discuss the case and questions that have been given to us, that we may learn from each other, that our minds may be opened to the things we have learned, and we may have a good discussion. And we say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. All right. Anybody have a spiritual thought they would like to share?
Don't judge people.
Don't judge people. Okay.
Yeah, that's been really, this whole week for me, it was like the whole thing with the Cincinnati Zoo, and people were like all of a sudden experts on all this stuff, and people judging, and then it's just like, gosh, people, like...
Well, yeah, there was that, and there's people in the BYU Idaho Facebook group that were getting real judgy, real preachy. Somebody called me an apostate. That was fun.
Stay so far out of the Facebook groups, it's not even funny.
So there's a BYU Facebook page?
There's one that's for all of the online students. And all I said was that I was disappointed that people who graduate with honors, like, they don't get cords and they don't get anything on their diploma. There's nothing on the, the program or whatever. And I said something about it, and someone was like, "You're criticizing the Lord, and that's the way to apostasy." I'm like, you don't even know me. Go away. So, yeah, that's my spiritual
thought. We can be less judging and more loving, huh?
Less judgy, more loving. Yep.
Well, thank you.
So.
Very cool. Yes, thanks for sharing that. Okay, well, we're here to judge. These next three.
Lovingly. We can judge lovingly.
Yes. We're given the information, we're told to judge, so we can do it. All right, so let's see. So let's put ourselves in the shoes of the Brentwood Associates Management. We must decide whether or not we will exit Zoe's Kitchen. Have you ever eaten at Zoe's Kitchen? Do you guys have it up where you are?
No.
I haven't seen it out here on the West Coast.
I've heard of it.
We have them in Austin, and it is awesome.
Okay, so have you had Chipotle?
Have I had who?
Chipotle?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so compare it to that. Is it...
Oh, boy.
How is it?
Well, it's a completely different kind of food.
Okay.
Right? I mean, I would say Zoe's is probably a little bit more spendy than I would expect, but they have great, shaved lamb, shaved chicken, heroes, good Greek type food. It's amazing.
I think we have like what is Daphne's Greek whatever. Have you had that?
Mm-mm.
We have like a food or like a franchise of Daphne Greek food whatever over here. So, And so it's pretty fresh?
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. So if it took me a while, I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't the same Zoe's Kitchen. I got down to the appendix. I'm like, oh, that is the same Zoe's Kitchen. Excellent. Yeah, it's a terrible weekend for my wallet because the Zoe's Kitchen that's closest to me is right in the same parking lot as our Costco. So yeah, we go there and we spend all our money for the month in 2 days, or in 3 hours rather. Anyway, so what are we going to do? Are we going to exit Zoe's Kitchen now? And if so, what is the best exit option? As a group, vote. What should Brentwood do with Zoe's Kitchen? A, IPO now. B, sell to a strategic buyer or a financial buyer. C, wait and grow the business until it is more valuable before exiting.
B.
B, strategic buyer or financial buyer. I almost think that that would be a two separate options, just given the different rate
Yeah.
of returns.
It was on the pre-discussion poll. It was a separate option.
Yep.
I chose the financial buyer one.
Hey Ken, how's it going?
Hi guys, it's going good.
Cool.
It's so hard. Part of me thinks it would be really fun to go public because I've never done it. I know it's miserable and everybody hates it who has gone through it, but personally for me it sounds like, this could be a fun way to go off and make a real lasting change and make great money. But it probably isn't the most financial way to go, but it sounds more fun to me. That's what. But that's where I'm leaning right now.
Yeah, if you crunched the numbers, at least if you crunched the numbers how I crunched the numbers, and I'm not saying that I did it correctly at all, IPO definitely gave the highest valuation on it. But yeah, it was I've been through an IPO, and they're not fun.
Yeah, see?
So, I mean, hey. So,
are you glad you went through it, though?
I learned a lot.
Not.
I learned a lot, let's put it that way. I'm grateful for what I learned.
That always sounds like a backhanded way to say, I had a terrible time, it was awful, I would never do it again, but oh yeah, I learned a lot.
It didn't make me a millionaire.
Yeah, if it was more successful for you, let's say you made like a lot more money and everybody loved it and the stock prices shot up, would it have been a better experience for you?
I would say so, yes.
Okay.
But the IPO I went through directly resulted in the company I worked for getting sued by the Department of Justice. So it was, yeah, overall it was a bad experience, but through a lot of decisions that I did not make.
Glad to hear you weren't responsible.
That were made way above my pay grade. Yeah, so. But no, Heather, for strategic, you said option B. Did you do strategic or financial?
I said financial.
I think I said strategic, but I lean more towards the same way.
Why
Beatrice?
strategic?
Just because it was a higher rate of return.
So I thought that just looking at the case and whatever, I thought I would have saved myself the headache and all the trouble, I guess, of doing an IPO, so I did choose the strategic. I felt like it would have given me almost similar returns, or I could have asked for similar returns, just like they were saying, like 20 times EBITDA valuation. That who requested? I think it was like somebody, Darden Restaurants got Olive Garden, Red Lobster, and they purchased Yard House or something.
Yeah.
So I just thought that would have been the easiest. Like if I could do that and save myself the trouble, then I would have done that. But again, I didn't compute, so I know my answer wasn't. So you're saying the IPO definitely gives more valuation?
So yeah, it gives the highest valuation if you use if you use the forward EBITDA for 3 years, then it falls between financial and strategic buyer. If you do the trailing EBITDA for 3 years, then it's a slightly higher than a strategic buyer and almost twice as much as the financial. And if you do the forward P over E for 3 years, it is, doing quick math, it's almost twice as much as a strategic buyer. But that's probably the biggest gamble scenario because you're banking on the company growing rapidly over the next 3 years, and the bottom can fall out of that very quickly. So that was my reason for choosing strategic, just because one, I didn't really like IPOs, Kent, you mentioned that, hey, it might be fun to do an IPO, which I think is, I think that's a valid reason. That's one of the reasons why Bizarre Voice went IPO is because the CEO really wanted to say he founded a business and took it all the way through an IPO. He had previously founded 2 businesses and they were both acquired. So, I think that's definitely a valid reason. Did anybody, so nobody really chose stick it out for a little while longer.
I do think that would actually be a really good choice, but the
That
excitement
was
of
my
going
second
public
choice.
was fun.
Yeah. Well,
Not making rational decisions. Sorry, guys.
No, that's fine. So what are some of the reasons for holding?
Well, at this point, there's no reason not to. It's not like they're not being profitable. If he's just looking to make money for the sake of getting a whole bunch of money and getting out, then yeah, he should sell. But I mean, there's no reason for him, unless there's a pressing reason that he needs to get out now. He needs to get his money out right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason for him not to stay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So didn't he have like an amazing track record where they'd like tripled their revenue or something crazy every year for like 15 years?
Yeah, I think so.
Like honestly, if you just kept that up for the next 3 years, like we're looking at huge growth. But I don't know if they can sustain that. But they have a good track record of it so far. Seems to be working.
Yeah, he had a. So what's another factor in that is that at the time of this case, it was there was a recession, wasn't there? So yeah, it was a.
That's only 3 years ago.
Yeah, you had a 2 sides of a coin. It says right in the opening paragraph that a similar restaurant had grown their share price 43% over its IPO in 2 months, right? Because this was in August of 2013, so June 2013, yeah. So in a month and a half, 2 months, a similar restaurant had grown 43%, but again, there was also a, either in a recession or coming out of a recession.
Wait, what are you trying to say? Like, since they're coming out of a recession right now, more people are willing to invest and like kind of looking for any opportunity?
I'm saying it's more of an uncertain market.
Oh.
So that's like a risk. That I guess that's probably an argument to hold a little bit because with all the risk associated with a recession, that might make an IPO less attractive to investors because you don't know if you buy stocks and then the Dow plummets again or the Nasdaq falls or wherever, then congratulations, you just lost your investment.
Yeah. There's always risk.
Yeah.
So are you saying then that you would suggest holding simply because the market's uncertain? But I mean, when is the market ever like sure? I guess if it's 2007 and you're going into an amazing bubble market.
No, we were coming out of an amazing bubble market.
Yeah, I bought a house in 2008. Don't remind me.
Oh, sorry.
That's rough.
Yeah. No, I'm just playing devil's advocate for the sake of the case because it says, what are some reasons for holding now? Because nobody, if nobody took this certain position, somebody take the position and go. I mean, I think selling, either to a strategic buyer, is probably that's probably the best step, and then maybe after that, an IPO. But then again, I'm colored. My history is colored with IPOs just for 2 reasons. One, I mean, from a negative standpoint, the one I went through didn't have the best turnout for the business. But 2, Austin is less affected by the economic downturn than the rest of the country, just because of all the tech booms here. So a tech IPO is not as risky, I guess you say, as maybe a restaurant IPO. I don't know.
I think this is another case of how lucky do you feel? Do you feel lucky, punk?
Yeah. Well, that's what it is, right? We're investment bankers in this scenario, so we are playing with risk.
I would be a terrible investor because I never feel lucky, so I'd be like, no, let's just do the safe thing instead of risking it all on an IPO that could cost a whole bunch of money to start and to do the upkeep for afterwards, and bring a whole bunch of scrutiny at us. I'd be like, no, if you really want out, you need to just sell. Because then you're guaranteed money, and then you're all the way out. You're not left with having to deal with any fallout from future stuff. I'm like, no.
Right.
I'd be a terrible investor. I'd also be a terrible gambler. No, don't. No more cards. I'm done.
We're done here, right? Okay, cool. All right, here are all my chips. I mean, wait, no, I get all my chips? Cool, yeah, awesome, thanks, bye.
Yep, pretty much. Sasha, what's that game where they do you get to 21 or something?
Blackjack.
Yeah, and hit me or whatever. I'd be like, no, I'll stay. But you only have 7. I'm good.
Of course, even then, though, that's a gamble because you're betting on the dealer busting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. See, I'd be a terrible gambler.
Yeah, choosing not to decide is still making a choice. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. My history teacher had that on his wall when I was in 8th grade.
Well, so, yay, we've learned something new from junior high school. Okay. Let's see, a little bit back on track here because we kind of
went on a tangent.
Yeah. So I think we kind of covered this before we started the broadcast. How much is Zoe's worth under each exit option? Discuss with each other how you got your answers. As a group, come up with a consensus as to what Zoe's is worth.
I don't know that we all did the math. I think you might have been the only one to do the math, Matthew.
Oh, no.
Because your name is Matthew.
Sorry, that was funny.
Betty got it.
So, Ken, did you do the spreadsheet?
No, I'm really embarrassed to say I didn't.
Oh, don't be embarrassed. You're in the
It's
majority.
the month end, man. I'm doing everything I can right now to just finish things.
I know, it's month end. Yeah, exactly. It was like, oh.
Yeah, I'm packing to go camping for a week. No, I did not do a spreadsheet.
I started a spreadsheet and I was trying to put the numbers, so I was like so confused.
I had the intention. What was Elder Holland's talk? We get points for trying or thinking about trying?
I think so, yeah. All right, so let me do a screen share with the spreadsheet that I came up with, just because that's easier than trying to talk through everything. So what I did was I took the adjusted EBITDA right here of 2013, which was somewhere in, what was that?
Can you zoom in a little bit?
Oh, jeez, come on now. You're killing me. I don't know how to do that.
Okay, don't worry about it.
Hit the plus sign
I don't have a plus
down
sign.
at the bottom.
This one right here? That's to add a sheet.
What? No, the bottom right. There's usually I can't see.
At the very top of your screen, there's a 100%.
Ah, thank you.
There you
How's
go.
that?
Oh, beautiful! Wow.
Awesome. This made all my numbers wrong. What happened now? Anyway, so I took the adjusted EBITDA from the exhibit, and let me find.
You just multiplied it by the numbers in the exhibit? Well, that's easy.
Not yes and no. So the adjusted EBITDA was in 10899. It's page 17 of the case. It's Exhibit 7, selected financials from Noodles and Company, Chewy's Holdings, and Zoe's Kitchen. Under selected financial data, adjusted EBITDA, and then scrolling over, and I'm breaking my neck on here. The 2013 number was 10,899 million, so 10.8 million. So that's where I got this number from. And then from the case, if Zoe's was bought by a strategic buyer, you get 13x the adjusted EBITDA. If it was bought by a financial buyer, you get 8x EBITDA. So that really was just taking 8, multiplying it by the 10,899 to get that number, 13 to get that number, and then I forget where I got these percentages from.
Probably from the case. There's on the graph. It's got a bunch of them.
I got them from an exhibit. So let me find exactly what it was here. So this was.
Is this on page 20?
On page 20, yeah. Yeah, so I took the last 3 years average, because I thought that gave the most thing for growth.
Makes sense.
And I used the numbers that excluded Chewy's and Noodles, just because there was a. I think it gave more of a fair number. It's kind of like when you're computing a weighted average and you drop the highest and lowest scores of something. I thought Chewy's and Noodles were such big outliers that it skewed the data. So was it the 14.9 for the trailing EBITDA for 3 years, 11.7 for the forward EBITDA for 3 years, and again, these are all the first lines underneath the shaded bars on that chart, and then the forward P&E last 3 years average for the 28.6, and then just multiplied those 3 multipliers against the 10.899.
Alexis, do you remember Mom saying that she'll have 30 minutes? Did you ever ask?
So
7:30. So that was going to be the time anyways.
Is it?
Yeah.
So let's see. So what do we do here? So it says, has the group come up with a consensus as to what Zoe's is worth? I guess that's whatever's. I mean, it's worth whatever somebody's willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
This is true.
Right? You know, that's the thing.
Isn't that the golden rule?
Right. This is interesting. What differences did you observe in the valuations based on who buys the company? So it's a strategic buyer. Well, if the public buys the company, then it's worth the most potentially, depending on how you evaluate it.
Depending on how the market feels that day.
Exactly. Actually for 6 months. That's usually how long a price is decent for an IPO. The underwriting banks will have ways of, I don't want to use the words playing with the numbers, but they have, the other word I'm going to use is manipulating. It sounds bad either way. They have ways of helping the price stay fairly consistent for the next, for 6 months after the IPO. So cool.
And then we read about where they can like buy back stock and other things.
Exactly, yeah. So they'll short the stock 15%, and then they'll just buy it back to kind of artificially inflate demand, which will keep the price where it needs to be. Because most employees during an IPO can't sell for 6 months after the IPO date. Stockholders who have preferred stock can sell immediately after an IPO, but if you have common stock, then you can't sell generally until 6 months is taken place. There we are. Okay, so why would a financial sponsor be that much different than a strategic buyer?
I didn't quite understand this part.
Yeah, so on page 9 of the case, there's the heading Sale to a Financial Sponsor or Strategic Buyer. I think that just has to do with the how they can finance the how the buyer would be able to finance the sale.
So wait, just to make sure I understand, the difference between a strategic buyer and a financial buyer, one's like another company that's acquiring you because they wanted to use your store to also sell stuff, or they're a competitor and they want to just make it easier for them. A strategic buyer is like an investing group that comes in and goes, okay, we want to buy your company, and is that the difference? Do I understand that right, or do I have that wrong?
I believe that's my understanding of it.
Okay. I think it's what they can get out of it then. That's why there's a difference in the price. I mean, what are they going to do with it? How are they going to grow? What's their plan with it? You're kind of just absorbing assets to make your company be a little bit better, to be more profitable in different areas. You're not going to go in and then drive it to be the most efficient as it can be. A strategic buyer is usually making it to be as much as effective as possible, and probably to eventually maybe sell it or do something with the revenue and stuff coming from it.
Right.
Might just be to make their own company look better on paper.
Yeah. We're going green, so we're buying your company. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's true. And there's also kind of not putting all your eggs in one basket from a restaurant concept standpoint. Like, you know, there's a lot of...
I wonder real quick.
Yeah, and also if you have, like, say, I'm going to use Yum Brands for an example. Yum Brands is the parent company that owns Pizza Hut, KFC, Taco Bell, Long John Silver's, and A&W Root Beer.
Wow.
They have, and the only reason why I'm able to rattle that off is because I used to work for Yum. Back in the day.
You know that?
Yeah. I was there when Yum was created because they all used to be owned by Pepsi.
That's also why they have Pepsi products at all of those places.
That is correct. So if you have, those 5 types of restaurants that are not similar at all. They're similar in they're all fast food joints, but you've got a pizza joint, a fish joint, a burger joint, a chicken joint, and tacos. So that's if people suddenly decide they don't want tacos, they want burgers, then you don't necessarily lose face, because your holdings are diversified. Whereas if you're a financial buyer and you own like 6 or 8 McDonald's franchises, and suddenly everybody hates McDonald's for whatever reason, then
Super Size Me.
Then you're in trouble. Yeah, Super Size Me, exactly. That was an awful movie. Anyways, yeah. So I forget where we were going.
strategic buyer.
Yeah, strategic
Financial.
buyer, whereas a strategic buyer is mostly just there to, improve the restaurant concept versus financial buyer. So why would anyone sell to a financial buyer instead of just IPO? So the financial buyer has the lowest calculated valuation, whereas an IPO can have the highest or the really highest highest one. Why would somebody sell to a financial buyer instead of an IPO?
Well, in the case they were talking about, a financial buyer that was interested. That was a family-owned restaurant holding company,
Mm-hmm.
and that was kind of the reason that I voted for a financial one, because I figured if anybody was going to purchase it and keep it running the way that the founders intended it for it to be run,
Mm-hmm.
it would be another restaurant business. And a family-owned one on top of that would keep it from turning to corporate or too businessy. Does that make any sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't make the most financial sense because it is the least amount of money of the other options. But if I were a founder, that was what I would choose.
Mm.
So
Yes.
I read, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I read that it says a private sale could be completed in less than 3 months and would not require as much management time and attention as an IPO, and the direct cost to the seller would also be much smaller than an IPO option. So I think that would depend too, is like, what would you rather give out as a, money or, value than having to do everything. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's easier, right? Maybe if you're not getting out of the restaurant business or maybe if you're not selling a restaurant because you want money, but maybe you have to sell it for whatever reason, like you're relocating or, some big personal event where it's just impossible for you to own the restaurant anymore. Maybe it makes sense to sell it to a financial buyer who you believe will take care of the restaurant more, and keep it more authentic instead of just trying to wring every last dime out of it.
Do we have to reach a consensus on this one, or?
Nope. Yeah, just discuss as a group.
Okay.
Go.
Oh, go. We already did. That's what we've been doing.
Yeah.
Cool. Anybody have anything else about the case? Anything that stuck out?
Not particularly.
I'm just still curious why he was trying to sell. Like, why he was looking into all these options. Was it because of the time he had? The time they had kept the company for, or?
Yeah, I think his company was looking for a what's the word? Looking for a
Out.
an out. Yeah,
Exit.
just like
Exit.
it's time to move on to the.
So this was not his
to the
passion
next thing.
project.
But
I
it
don't
didn't
think so,
really
no.
say why he wanted an out, right? Like, it was just like, we want an out, and here are the options. Which one's
Well, I
the
think-
best
I
one?
didn't really go into much about that.
As I was reading the case, it talked about how he'd been approached by 20, whatever the guys are called. They're saying, hey, you should go public. And he was like, well, maybe they have some validity and I should be looking into this more. So he was exploring his options of what he should do. and that's why I felt like he was. Not
So
just 'cause
he
was
wants
bored,
to get
but
out because of peer pressure?
well, no. If people come to you and say, "Hey, we want to buy your company," and a lot of people come to you and say that, I mean, you start thinking about
really
maybe I should
tempting.
sell it. Yeah, everybody's asking for it.
Mhm.
Give the people what they want.
Yeah. So maybe he was thinking it was probably the best time. It's kind of like for me, people are like, "Oh, you should sell your house." I've been thinking about selling my house, and they've been telling me like, "You should sell the house." And a lot of people I talk to tell me I should sell my house. But then like at the same time, I'm like, should I really sell my house? Like,
It's a lot of work.
but you have everybody telling you, so it's like you start having to look at your options.
You're done with school.
Mhm.
So yeah, no, I'm like, no, I can't afford to move right now. I have too much going on, so I'm not selling. But I guess if he has the time and can, yeah, I think he should look into an IPO if he really ultimately wants to.
If he's only in it for the money, sure.
Mhm.
Well, who's not in it
Yeah,
for 20
if he's
more
in it for the money,
$1 million?
and he has the time, and he wants his company to be known as the company that, finally, I guess because it had been a while since they took a company to IPO, right? Zoomies or something.
Right.
In a minute or so. So, I mean, I don't know. I would like to play it safe like Heather, but they are investors, so.
Yeah, investors are not naturally risk averse. They like to gamble.
Mhm. That's true.
Did that answer your
But
question?
anyways, thanks. That makes more sense. I'm like, because at first, yes, because I was like, why is he in such a hurry? But now it's like, oh, okay, that makes more sense now. And not even such in a hurry. It was why does he want to? Why doesn't he just stick it out a couple of years and figure out, see if the company grows? I mean, it had momentum, so
Mhm.
it was gaining momentum. So I was like, oh, well, he can keep it, make it larger, and then once it's larger, then he can get more
I
firms.
think
and
part of
stuff.
the idea is to always be looking at your options and always
Mhm.
looking 5 years down and go, okay, which way is going to be the most profitable path for me to go? Because he very well could just move forward and in 10 years sell the company and make tons of money, but did he miss out on an opportunity he could have made more or done it a little bit better? And I think that's part of the purpose of studying the case, so that we do that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Cool.
Well, I don't have anything else.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else either. I think we covered everything.
I think we are good, yeah. All right, awesome. I'm going to hit stop. I'll send you all links, and then happy end of old month, beginning of new month.
Yay! Bye,
Yay.
guys. I'll see you
All
later.
right, see you guys.
Bye.